Hello everybody and welcome back. It's Asa the Greek, and today I wanted to give you all my thoughts on the cast of Kumitantei Old School Slaughter. And what better way to do that than a good old tier list? We're going to start with the D tier. In 18th place, we have Benjiro Mnesuga, the Absolute Beekeeper. I think I've spoken about this before, but I don't like kids in killing games. They don't usually add much in the story, and often they are very annoying. What's worse for me right now is the fact that all of the characters are supposed to be the same age, from my understanding. Meaning that Benjiro is the same age as someone like Kazan or Jiryu. So why is he acting like that? And also, what did he take from the kitchen at the start of chapter 1? This was never addressed again. The last D tier character, in my opinion, at number 17, is the main host of the game, Nyanyus. If you are a regular here, you know how I feel about the mascot characters. I don't like them, especially because a lot of them in this fandom just feel like copies of Monokuma personality-wise. His design is confusing but unique. A friend did mention why both hosts look like that, or at least her assumption, which does make sense. With the whole Janus Institute, I didn't even know that it was a Roman god, but yes, Nyanyus is just another mascot, meaning he's scoring low in my rankings. At number 16 and bottom of C tier now, we have the other host, Nyanyu Sofu. Everything I said about Nyanyus goes for Sofu too, but I do like him more than Nyanyus, and his personality is a bit more grumpy and different from Nyanyus and the usual Monokuma clones, so I figured, why not? You can go to C tier instead. Now that we got both hosts out of the way, let's continue with the rest of the students. In 15th place, we have Tamotsu Ishikame, the Absolute Soldier. I will be honest, he hasn't really done much so far in the story. His only role so far is to yell, cuss out the students, and just be obnoxious. His haircut looking like a gun is funny in theory, but it does look weird, so that's not helping his case either. I think at first it was funny, but his constant yelling got a bit repetitive as I played more. I really hope he starts doing more stuff in the future chapters. At the top of C tier, we have the first victim. At number 14, there's the absolute pop star, Reiji Kutsuki. Again, not much going on with this character. The story kinda tells us Reiji is high most of the time. He doesn't have much relevance aside from, well, dying first. And sure, he had this scene the day before where he gave this speech of just giving up searching for an exit. But like, that's not enough for me to like him. Yes, he tried to kill Moichiro and ended up rage baiting him till his final moments, but I wouldn't say he's anywhere close to being my favorite character. We've made it to B tier now. At number 13, we have the absolute paranormal investigator, Kokoro Hoshisaki. I think Kokoro is a solid character. The usual delusional and paranoid character. I do like how his prosopagnosia does explain more why he's so paranoid, and why he thinks these creatures are real, and I do like that this was used in the first chapter, with him mixing up Himari and Moichiro. I sense that he and Tsubaki will have an arc together, judging from that scene where she saves him from falling to his death. For now though, he's okay. The 12th place goes to Shigure Ogasawara, the absolute meteorologist. Honestly, I would have put her higher had she not been so annoying towards Himari during the trial. I mean, she was mean from the start, being this rich princess character trope, but despite her being smart throughout the chapter, she feels kind of stupid during the trial. I mean, a lot of the characters feel somewhat stupid, but that's consistent. But Shigure kept believing Moichiro despite having multiple evidence pointing to Himari's innocence. I do wonder how her relationship with Jiryu will go, but yeah, for now she's staying right here. Maybe she'll get her redemption in the next chapter. Just shy out of the top 10, we have Nisuke Ajima, the absolute filmmaker. Nisuke is another safe character. I do like that we see a religious character, and I do wonder if him being a Mormon is going to play some role later on. He is surprisingly perceptive from what we saw in the search for the exit, but overall I have a mostly neutral to positive opinion of him. Maybe in the future he will go higher. The top 10 are here, starting with Sakuya Aikawa, the absolute technician. Sakuya has a pretty nice design, and she's definitely going to be very important moving forward. She didn't do a lot during the prologue in chapter 1, admittedly, But I did somehow manage to do one of her free time events, getting a bit more out of her and her lore. I am a bit confused as to why she speaks like a robot, but she's definitely interesting. Right now, I will say the mystery surrounding her is helping her case. 9th place goes to Erika Hakure, the absolute plastic surgeon. Honestly, I was expecting to put Erika higher. She was from my favorite characters back when this was a fangun. But honestly, she didn't really do much during chapter 1. I was expecting her to be more creepy and weird, but she wasn't all that. Sure, there were some scenes where she made Himari and Hiroshi uncomfortable for a moment, but that's all. While she's not a bad character, she isn't what I had in mind, which maybe put her lower than I originally planned. You might be wondering, where's Himari? Well, she's sitting comfortably at the top of B tier. The absolute barista, Himari Sanada, is my top 8th Kumitantei character. Himari falls under the type of main character that I usually call safe, though she's slightly more of a people pleaser and a pushover than the average main DR character. That being said, I do like the scenes we got between her and Moichiro. We got a bunch of lore on her already from the start, and I won't lie, I'm vibing with her. Though I do want to see her getting more confident as the story progresses, like how she was near the end of the first trial. And hopefully she talks back to Shigure at some point, underdog story, etc, etc. We continue with the A tier. Number 7 goes to the one and only, the absolute knight, Jiryu Shuraki. I love knights, okay? And I do like the loyal right-hand retainer trope in media. So naturally, Jiryu was going to be high up on my list. He kind of reminds me of Chrome, the main character of my favorite Fire Emblem game. Fire Emblem Awakening, yes. I am an Awakening baby, don't judge me. I am curious to see how his relationship with Shigure is going to turn out, since when Himari asked him about her, it didn't seem like he had any opinion of her. Just shy out of the top 5, we have the absolute prosecutor, Moichiro Sanada. Our younger brother takes a 6th spot. Definitely my favorite out of the 2 siblings. He did take on the leader role of the cast, which I do like a lot, if you're new here. Moichiro has the biggest world-building connection so far, with him being twins with Himari, while also knowing Takara, Jiryu, and Shigure prior to the Killing Game, giving us some nice interactions and lore tidbits. Of course, he does end up dying as the first killer, and his relationship with Himari is quite unique. It is unfortunate that he had such a skewed view of his situation, blaming Himari for it. If his motivation was a bit better, I would have placed him in the top 5 for sure. But, like, he ended up killing Reiji because he got rage baited. Moichiro had shown us to be quite intelligent, so seeing him fall for such an obvious bait was odd. We have only 5 characters left. If you've made it this far in the video, why don't you comment down below who you think my favorite character is. 5th place goes to Takara Hanabusa, the absolute trackster. Honestly, Takara is the opposite of Erika. I did not expect to like her, as I'm not really fond of the dog-like hair she's got going for her. But she was a surprisingly fun character. During my playthrough, I was getting a bit annoyed with her whole Kyonshi thing that she rambled on about for a bit, but then I remembered that she's a shrine maiden, so I guess it does make sense why she had such an issue with Tsubaki. Takara is one of the few characters that feels very relevant and connected with the rest of the group. She has her one-sided beefs with Tomatsu and Tsubaki, as well as what I would assume was a friendship with Moichiro, and her being part of the morning shift peeps means that she was been around for most of the coffee interactions. I don't see her surviving for long, but if she dies in the next chapter, she will still be memorable in my opinion. Kazan Miyoga, the absolute lumberjack, lands in 4th place. She was my favorite character before the game went original. I will say, I think Kazan's design with the new art style is not as nice as it was before. If I recall correctly, she looked a lot more buff in the DR sprite. Aside from that, everything else is the same. Kazan is a more stoic character, though still being somewhat goofy when she talks about the forest creatures and other tales she's heard from her fellow co-workers. I'm curious to hear more about Kazan's relationship with her sister, and I do wonder what kind of insecurity she has, because it did seem like she didn't think herself to be equal to some of the other girls, like Himari. But for real though, wash your hands after taking a dump, Stinky. The 3rd place goes to Kaguya 125. The absolute enigma is surprisingly wholesome. I was fully expecting to not like Kaguya, putting her near the bottom of my list. But literally every scene she has with Himari is so sweet. And creepy at times, yes. There is a great mystery surrounding her, as not only does she not remember her title, but literally nothing about herself or the world. I'm very curious to see her progression, seeing her slowly remember or relearn things. And I do wonder what her title and her whole deal is. The silver medal goes to the last male character of the cast, that being the absolute comedian, Hiroshi Okabe. Once again, another surprising character. I know I have been a little mean to Hiroshi during the game for his lazy and somewhat cowardly attitude, but his interactions with Himari were pretty nice. And he did get a lot of screen time during Chapter 1, which I did not expect. I do wonder how his relationship with Shigure will end up. I doubt he'll get her to like him, but let's see how they'll go. But yes, I wasn't thinking of putting him this high until he locked in during the trial at the end, calling out Moichiro and backing up our main girl. That moment alone was enough for me to put him higher. Of course, that means that my favorite character from Kumitantei Old School Slaughter is none other than the last remaining girl of the cast, the absolute paleontologist Tsubaki Inoue. I did not expect to like her this much, but Tsubaki is hilarious. I can't help but laugh every time I try to read her dialogue. And while she's struggling to speak properly, she's surprisingly insightful and smart. She was from the most helpful people in the cast, from the few people that didn't buy Moichiro's plan and thought Himari could still be innocent. I would like to see more of her and Kokoro in the future. I think their dynamic would be both cute and hilarious, considering she's literally a Frankenstein-esque creature. Though I do wonder what will happen to her if her body is already rotting. For how much longer can she survive until she starts decaying? You should be seeing the whole tier list now. These are my opinions on the cast of Kumitantei Old School Slaughter. What do you guys think? Who are your favorite characters? Let me know of your own list in the comments below, but until next time, take care, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.